Hi, fifth grade. Today's math lesson is lesson 5.2, and it is over dividing by two-digit numbers. Now, before we start our notes and our examples, I want to warn you, this lesson is difficult. I'm not going to pretend like it's not because I know that it's difficult. However, you can do it. It just takes a little bit more time. So before we even start, you're going to have to pay close attention to our examples. I would suggest getting out your math notebook and working these out with me. Don't just watch the video because you're not going to understand. You need to also work them out so that your fingers are doing what mine are doing. That way it makes more sense. And then when you get to your assignment, it's going to take you some time to do it. I know that, which is why I've shortened down your assignment quite a bit because it's going to take you a little bit of time. So watch this video as many times as you need to. Make sure that you're taking your time to figure these out. The only way that we get better is by practicing. Okay? So let's go ahead and start. We are still using Dangerous Monkeys Swipe Bananas, so I have that down the side here for us. And your division problems still look the same. The only difference is that now there's two numbers out here outside the house. And the reason that's going to be difficult, we don't know our 18 facts, and they're not on our multiplication chart. So we're going to have to do a little bit of extra work to figure these out. The very first thing we want to do is we want to round this number that's on the outside of the house. So 18 is pretty close to 20. So I'm going to write a 20 down here. We are going to think about it like a 20 because that will be easier to think about. Okay, it's going to help us out a little bit along the way. So let's think. 20. Is 20 going to fit into 1? No. So we're going to have to look at the first two numbers. Is 20 going to fit into 10? No again. So we need to look at the first three numbers together. About how many 20s are going to fit into 106? So I'm going to start counting by 20s. I want to get as close to that as I can. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. That's as close as I can get. So about 5 times, right? So I'm going to put my 5 up top. We think it's going to fit in there about 5 times. Now when we multiply, our number is not actually 20. We're just using that to help us. Our number is actually 18. So I need to do 18 times 5 to see how much that is. 18 times 5. I'm going to work out the multiplication pretty quick because we should know the answers to these. That's 90. So we're going to subtract 90 over here. Be careful on your subtraction. You should get 16. Remember, if you are working these out on your notebook, which I hope you are, you can pause the video to catch up with me. I'm going to go through those parts pretty quick because you know how to multiply and how to subtract. Now, when I get here, I want to pause and check. Is this number smaller than this number? Yes. That means my 5 was correct. If that number's not smaller, then I know I've made a mistake and I need to restart and try again. But it is smaller, so we're good so far. Now we're ready to bring down. I'm going to bring down that 1. And when I bring down, I have to go again. So I'm going to think about how many 20s will fit into 161. So again, I'm going to count by 20s and see how close I can get. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 160. I have 8 fingers up. So I think it'll go in there 8 times. Now, when I get to my multiply, remember, it's not really a 20. We just did that to kind of help us count and get close. So I need to do 18 times 8. I'm going to go through my multiplication pretty quick because we should know how to do this part. That's 144. Now I'm going to subtract that over here because my next step is subtraction. I'm going to have to do some take one, give one here. I got 17. Now I'll do that little check again. Is this smaller than that? Yes, just barely. So I know my 8 was right. I don't have anything to bring down, so 17 must be my remainder. Your remainder might be a little bit bigger than you're used to because we're doing bigger numbers out here, and that's okay. All right, let's do another one. Remember, we have to keep practicing to get better at them. I know they're difficult, but you can do it. All right, first we went around 21. What is 21 going to round to? 20. Then I have to see where I can start. So is 20 going to fit into 1? No. What about 15? Nope. So 153. So we're thinking about it like a 20. About how many 20s are going to fit into 153? Well, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140. I have 7 fingers up, so it must be a 7. That's what I think. So I'm going to put a 7 up there. Now I'm ready to multiply, but remember, my number is not actually 20. It's 21. So I'm going to do 21 times 7. That's a 7. That's a 14. So 147 is what I'm going to subtract right here. Do some subtraction. I got a 6. And that's it. Then remember, we want to do a little check. Is this smaller than this? Yes. So my 7 was right. We guessed correctly. Awesome. Now bring down that 3. And if I bring down, I have to go again. So remember, pretending like this is a 20. About how many 20s are going to fit into 63? Well, 20, 40, 60. I have 3 fingers up. So I think it's going to be a 3. Then I'm going to multiply 21 times 3 because my number is actually 21. That's a 3. That's a 6. Ooh, perfect. 63. If I subtract those, I get a 0. And I have no remainder, nothing to bring down. So 73. That one went in exactly perfect. So remember, this is the same. Dangerous monkeys swipe bananas. That did not change. The only thing that changed is I have to do some more multiplication stuff out here because these numbers are big. All right, let's try another one. Number 3 down here. We have 79. We want to round it. That's closest to 80. So I'm going to pretend like it's an 80 to help me out as I work. Will 80 fit into 4? No. What about 40? Nope. 403. Now, before we were counting by 20s, and that's easy. But if I ask you to count by 80s, that gets kind of hard. So instead of counting by 80s, you can also cover up the back number of each. So cover up the 0 in the 80 and cover up the 3 in 403. Now I have 8 and 4. About how many 8s will fit into 40? You can also do it like that. About how many 8s will fit into 40? 5 of them. So I think it's going to be a 5. When I multiply, remember, my number is not really 80, so I'm going to do 79 times 5. I'm just using that 80 to make it a little bit easier to figure out. All right, that's 45. That would be 39. So 395 is what I need to subtract. Be careful on my subtraction. You should get 8 there. Then you check. Remember, is this smaller than this? Yes, so my 5 was right. Good job. Then we will bring down our 2. And we go again. About how many 80s are going to fit in 82? Well, that's easy to tell. It's only going to fit in there one time. So 1 would be my number up here. But remember, it's really a 79. So 79 times 1 is 79. So subtract a 79. That would be a 3. I don't have anything to bring down, so my remainder is going to be 3. That one was kind of quick because that was easy to tell that it went in there one time. Let's try again on number 4. Remember, first we're going to round this number. So 42 is going to round to 40. Then we have to see where we're going to start. Is 40 going to fit into 3? No. What about 32? Nope. So 323. Remember, counting by 40s is kind of hard. So instead of counting by that, I can cover up the back numbers. So how many 4s will fit into 32? Well, that goes 8, I think. So put an 8 up here. Then when I multiply, I have to use my actual number. So 42 times 8. Do that real quick. Uh-oh. I'm saying uh-oh because that's 336, and I only had 323. That's too big. So if that's too big, what does that tell me about this 8? 8 was too big, so I should drop it down to a 7. Okay? Sometimes that happens. It's not because 8 was wrong. Whenever I was estimating, 8 would have been the correct answer. But this is just estimating to get you close. It's not going to work out perfectly every time. So that got me close. I knew it couldn't be 8 now, so I know it probably has to be 7. So we need to remultiply. 42 times 7. It's all about kind of like guess and check almost. So 294. That will work. So subtract 294. Do a little take one, give one here. 9, 2. I got 29. And then I'm going to check, is this smaller than this? Yes. So I know the 7's good. Now bring down that 1. Now from there, we have to go again. So remember, cover up those back numbers. About how many 4s will fit into 29? 4s into 29 is going to be about 7, I think. Now, when I put that 7 up here, because that's what I'm thinking, I'm looking back at my work over here. 42 times 7 we already did, and that was 294. I only have 291, so 7 is too big. So instead of a 7, what does this have to be? A 6. I need to bump it down 1. 7 was too big. Remember, sometimes that happens. It just tells me I need to bump it down 1. So we need to do 42 times 6 to see how much that is. 42 times 6 is 252. So we're going to subtract 252. Do a little take 1, give 1 here. I got 39, and I don't have anything to bring down, so remainder 39. Kind of had to write that weird up there. I was running out of room. Okay, so since we are estimating, we're kind of doing a guess and check. It might not always work out, and that's okay, because when the 8 didn't work, I just knew I needed to bump it down 1 number. Don't get frustrated. Don't get discouraged. At least you were close. If we didn't do this estimating to at least get close, you would have to work out like 42 times 1, 42 times 2, 42 times 3, 42 times 4, 42 times 5, 42 times 6. You'd have to work all those out to see which one was going to work. So it at least gets us close, but it's not going to work perfectly every single time. You have to be willing to put in the work. Okay, let's try one more example. And then remember, you can re-watch this again if you need to, because this is a little bit tricky. It's going to take you a little time to get used to it. All right, remember, we're going to round this number first. So 54 is closest to 50. And then we're going to see where to start. It's not going to fit into 3. Won't fit into 35. So 350. All right, so about how many 50s will fit in 350? Or remember, cover up those back numbers. About how many 5s will fit in 35? Well, 7. So write a 7. But remember, when I multiply, my number is actually 54. So I'm going to do 54 times 7. Uh-oh. I had 350, and when I multiplied by 7, that's 378. That's too big. So what does that tell me I need to do with this 7? Bump it down to a 6. 7's going to be too big, so I'm going to bump it down to a 6. All right, let's do 54 times 6. Remember, we're not going to get frustrated. At least we're close. Working out my problem here. 324. So we're going to subtract 324. Be careful on your subtraction. It should be 26. Now, remember, check. Is 26 smaller than 54? Yes. So I know the 6 is right. Good work. Now I need to go to the next one to bring down. That's going to be a 9. All right, cover up those back numbers. About how many 5s will fit into 26? About 5 of them. So put a 5 up there. 54 times 5, because remember, my number is actually 54. I'm going to multiply this out. Oh, man. We had 269, and when I took it times 5, I got 270. It's too big by one number. Too big by one number. So what do I need to do with my 5? If 5 was too big, I'm going to bump it to a 4. All right, and then we have to do times 4. So 54 times 4. 216. Subtract that. Should get 53. And then I'm going to check, is this smaller than this? Yes, just by a little bit, but it is smaller. So my 4 was right. I don't have anything to bring down, so remainder 53. So I will say again, you are just following Dangerous Monkey Swipe Bananas. It takes longer, though, because we don't know these big numbers, so we have to do some guess and check and kind of go through like that. Okay? If you need to watch the video again, you can. Remember, your homework is going to take you some time. I know that, So I made it fewer problems, but we have to practice in order to get better. So be willing to spend the time on the homework. Take your time, work them out, really think about it. Watch my video again if you need to. I know this one's hard, but you can do it. Work hard. Bye.